In the glittering heart of Beverly Hills, where high-end brands flaunt their prestige and price tags make the average shopper gasp, one store dared to laugh. Not at a joke, not at a celebrity scandal, but at Keanu Reeves' credit card. Yes, that Keanu Reeves. The humble Hollywood icon who's saved lives on screen and touched countless hearts off it. The same man who rides the subway like the rest of us, buys coffee for strangers, and quietly donates millions without seeking applause. So what happens when this down-to-earth star steps into a luxury boutique, unshaven, wearing old boots, and carrying a worn leather wallet, only to be mocked by a smug store clerk who doesn't recognize him? What follows is a jaw-dropping chain of events that would leave everyone, the clerk, the manager, and even nearby shoppers, stunned beyond belief. Get ready for a story of arrogance, humility, and a twist no one saw coming. This is not just a story about money or fame, it's a powerful reminder that appearances can be deceiving, and respect is priceless. Chapter 1. The Stranger in Boots. The sun was high above Rodeo Drive. Expensive cars purred along the polished streets, their drivers hidden behind tinted glass. Paparazzi loitered near favorite celebrity haunts, hoping for a lucky snapshot. Inside Elan Luxe, one of the city's most exclusive designer boutiques, the air smelled like jasmine and money. Soft jazz floated through hidden speakers. Mannequins posed like runway queens, draped in haute couture pieces that cost more than most people's annual rent. Behind a polished marble counter, Bianca, a sharply dressed store associate in heels so tall they seemed weaponized, tapped away on her phone. She was bored, scrolling through fashion blogs, checking who wore what at Cannes, and dreaming of a promotion that never came. Then the door opened. It wasn't a familiar face, not one she'd expect. No flashy suit, no entourage. Just a tall man with messy shoulder-length hair, a weathered leather jacket, jeans that looked like they'd been through one too many motorcycle rides, and boots that had clearly seen better days. Bianca barely looked up. "Sir," she said coolly, "that entrance is for clients only. Delivery entrance is around the back." The man stopped, smiled kindly, and replied with a soft voice, "I'm not delivering anything, just browsing." Bianca blinked, finally looking up. Her eyes narrowed. "We have a dress code here. Most of our clients make appointments. Maybe try the outlet mall down the street." Still calm, the man stepped forward. "I promise, I won't take much of your time." Chapter 2. A Quiet Presence. Keanu Reeves, though unrecognized, wasn't the least bit shaken. He was used to being overlooked. Fame had taught him that sometimes invisibility was a blessing, but today it felt more like a social test. He wandered deeper into the store, taking his time. He admired the craftsmanship of a hand-stitched leather jacket, ran his fingers over an Italian cashmere scarf, and paused at a pair of boots that reminded him of something John Wick might wear on a quieter day. Bianca watched him from the counter, her lip curled in disdain. She turned to her co-worker, Jessie, a new hire who was restocking perfume samples. "Can you believe this guy?" she whispered. "Thinks he's gonna buy something here with that biker getup. He probably wandered in from the coffee shop next door." Jessie glanced up, a little uncertain. "He looks kind of familiar." Bianca scoffed. "Please, if he were famous, I'd know. That wallet looks like it came from a garage sale." Keanu heard none of it. He was used to whispers, used to judgment. But something about this store's air of superiority, about the way people assumed wealth equaled worth, tugged at something deep within him. He picked up a silk tie and turned it in his hands. He liked it. Simple, elegant, understated. "I'll take this," he said softly as he approached the counter. Bianca's eyes narrowed. "That tie is $840. Keanu gave a nod. Sounds about right. She blinked. Do you want to see something more affordable? We have scarves on clearance in the back. He smiled, still calm. No, this is fine. Chapter 3. The Swipe That Changed Everything. She rang up the tie, eyeing him skeptically. He reached into his wallet, a beaten-up brown leather trifold, and pulled out a black credit card. Not just any card. A Centurion card. The American Express black card. The kind of card you don't apply for, you get invited to use it. The kind of card with no spending limit, reserved for the ultra-wealthy. Bianca froze. She didn't recognize the man, but she definitely recognized that card. For a second, she thought it might be fake. She'd seen influencers try to flash dupes for clout. Maybe this was the same. She inserted the card and looked him over again. Still scruffy, still calm. Approved. No delay, no verification check, no need to call a manager. It cleared instantly. She felt the heat rise to her face. Her mouth went dry. "Would you like a bag?" she asked, her voice suddenly softer. Keanu smiled. "Just the receipt is fine." He tucked the tie under his arm and turned to walk out. That would have been the end of it, if not for what happened next. Chapter 4. The Manager's Mistake. As Keanu reached the door, Marcus, the store manager, walked in from the office hallway. A lean man with designer glasses and a clipboard permanently glued to his hand. Marcus was the kind of person who liked things orderly and expensive. "Bianca," he said sharply, "why is that man leaving with merchandise?" She gestured at the receipt. "He paid for it. Black Amex dot." Marcus tilted his head, confused. "Who approved that?" "I did." He snatched the receipt from her hands and scanned the name. Keanu Charles Reeves. Marcus's eyes widened. He stared at the name, then at the door, where Keanu was just stepping into the sunlight. "That was Keanu Reeves?" he hissed. Bianca froze. "Wait! What?" Marcus turned to her, visibly furious. "You didn't recognize him? He's a VIP client at Vacheron, Goyard, Dior. He has private access to stores we can't even get into. And you treated him like a panhandler?" Bianca stammered. He didn't look like..." Marcus didn't wait. He sprinted out of the store, hoping to catch Keanu before it was too late. Chapter 5. The Apology. Keanu was already walking toward the valet lot when Marcus caught up to him. "Mr. Reeves," he called out breathlessly. Keanu turned, raising an eyebrow. "Yes? I apologize, deeply. My team didn't realize who you were. Please, come back in. We'll take care of anything you need. A private suite, refreshments." Keanu shook his head gently. "I wasn't looking for special treatment, just a tie." Marcus fumbled. "No, of course not. But Bianca, she shouldn't have spoken to you that way." Keanu glanced back at the boutique. The windows sparkled. Inside, Bianca was frozen behind the counter, a pale ghost of her former self. "I understand," Keanu said, "but it's not about me. It's about how she treats people." Marcus nodded quickly. "Yes, absolutely. We'll deal with it internally. Would you consider accepting a gift from us? A token of apology?" Chapter 6. Shockwaves Through the Staff. Back inside the boutique, silence had fallen. Bianca stood frozen behind the counter. Jesse, still holding a box of fragrance samples, looked visibly uncomfortable. He broke the silence first. "That was Keanu Reeves?" Bianca didn't respond. Her expression was blank, but her heart was pounding. She quickly pulled out her phone, typed the name into Google, and stared at the results. Photos, videos, movie clips, awards, stories of generosity. And then there it was, a recent viral interview clip where Keanu talked about humility, about how he preferred to be treated like a regular human being. Her stomach sank. "He just bought a tie," she murmured, "and I tried to send him to the outlet mall." Jessie didn't say a word. Neither did the other staff who'd heard her earlier, mocking Keanu's wallet, his jacket, his boots. Chapter 7. The Whisper Spreads. It didn't take long for the story to spread. The boutique had security cameras, and while Marcus was fuming over the lost opportunity, someone from the back office, a part-time intern, quietly downloaded a snippet of the footage onto a USB stick. They didn't intend for it to go viral, at least not that fast. But within hours, a 40-second clip titled "Luxury Clerk Laughs at Keanu Reeves, Then Regrets It" was circulating on social media. First, it hit Reddit, then TikTok, then Instagram Reels. And by midnight, it had over 12 million views. The comment section exploded. "This is why I love Keanu. Always calm, always kind, always humble." That clerk really said outlet mall to a man who owns part of a motorcycle company. She judged him by his boots. She should have looked at his heart. This gave me Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman flashbacks. Imagine telling John Wick he can't afford a tie. People weren't just angry. They were inspired. Keanu's quiet grace became the center of an internet-wide discussion about class, respect, and human decency. Chapter 8. The News Catches On. By the next morning, major outlets were calling. TMZ released a front-page piece. "Keanu snubbed at Rodeo Drive Boutique, walks out like a gentleman." Entertainment Tonight ran the headline. "Keanu keeps his cool after store. Clerk disses him. Class act as always." Even CNN Entertainment picked it up, focusing on the broader issue of how wealth and appearance often warp our treatment of others. Journalists dug up past stories about Keanu giving up his seat on the subway, helping stranded travelers at the airport, and funding children's hospitals anonymously. Suddenly, the boutique, Elon Lux, became a symbol, but not the kind they wanted. They were flooded with negative reviews, memes, and even boycott calls. Luxury shoppers began canceling appointments, and somewhere in a penthouse office, the CEO of the parent company summoned Marcus for an emergency meeting. Chapter 9. The Meeting. In a sleek skyscraper overlooking downtown Los Angeles, Marcus stood nervously outside a boardroom with floor-to-ceiling windows and minimalist furniture worth more than a college tuition. Inside sat Miranda Chen, the regional VP, a no-nonsense executive who had built a reputation for zero tolerance when it came to public relations disasters. She didn't invite Marcus to sit. "I've read the reports. I've seen the footage. Would you like to explain why one of the most respected men in Hollywood was humiliated in our flagship store?" Marcus gulped. It was a misunderstanding. The associate didn't recognize him. He was dressed down. Miranda arched an eyebrow. "And that gives her permission to treat him like a beggar." "No, of course not. We've reprimanded her." "Reprimanded?" Miranda cut in. "We're losing VIP clients by the hour. Chanel's creative director canceled their walkthrough. We're being memed, Marcus." "Memed?" Marcus shifted uncomfortably. "We've offered Keanu a personal apology and a shopping credit." Miranda leaned forward. "You still don't get it. This isn't about money, it's about values. People are tired of snobbery. They want authenticity, kindness. Keanu Reeves is the brand we should aspire to be." There was a long pause. "Fix this," she said sharply, "or clean out your desk." Chapter 10. The Invitation. Meanwhile, Keanu was at a small diner in Silver Lake, sipping black coffee and signing an autograph for a teenage fan who had nervously approached him. He didn't mention the incident to anyone, but someone else did. His publicist, Angela Vasquez, stepped into the booth with her phone in hand. She looked somewhere between amused and exasperated. Keanu, you've gone viral. He raised an eyebrow. Again? Rodeo Drive Boutique. Clerk mocked your card. Internet thinks you're a saint. He chuckled softly. I just wanted a tie. Angela handed him her phone. Ellen Lux wants to apologize. They're inviting you back. Private tour, dinner with the creative director, exclusive pre-launch access to their fall collection. Keanu stared at the screen, then leaned back in the booth. Why? He asked. Angela shrugged. Damage control. Their reputation's in freefall. They need you to clean it up. He sipped his coffee again and looked out the window. Maybe I'll go, he said. But not alone. Angela tilted her head. Who are you thinking? Keanu smiled. Someone who actually needs a suit. Chapter 11. A different kind of client. 2 days later, the boutique was in pristine condition. Elan Lux had brought in new floral arrangements. They'd reorganized the displays. Even the playlist had changed, now featuring soft acoustic tracks instead of pretentious ambient noise. Bianca was back behind the counter, looking sharper than ever but far less smug. She hadn't slept much. Her name had been dragged through every social media platform, and while no one at work had said it out loud, she could feel the judgment seeping through every glance. Then the doors opened. This time, Keanu didn't come alone. Walking beside him was a man in his early 60s. He wore worn-out sneakers, an oversized blazer, and held himself with nervous, hunched shoulders. His name was Walter, a former stagehand Keanu had met years ago on the set of an indie film. Walter had fallen on hard times, laid off, struggling to make ends meet, and too proud to ask for help. But Keanu had kept in touch, and today he was here for him. Chapter 12. Unexpected Guests. The staff turned their heads as Keanu walked in. This time, everyone recognized him. They straightened their postures, smiled nervously, and whispered to one another. Walter looked around, overwhelmed. Keanu, I don't belong here. Keanu placed a hand on his shoulder. Neither did I, apparently. Let's change that. Marcus approached cautiously, trying his best to look polished and apologetic at once. Mr. Reeves, welcome back. We've prepared a few things for you. Keanu smiled politely. I'm not here for me. I brought my friend. I think he needs a suit. Marcus glanced at Walter and hesitated for just a second, but Keanu noticed, and so did Walter. We'd be honored, Marcus said quickly, motioning for one of the senior tailors. Bianca stood frozen. Her palms were sweating. Every step Keanu took closer to her counter felt like thunder. When they finally locked eyes, she forced a nervous smile. Good afternoon, she said, voice strained. Keanu nodded. It is, isn't it? Bianca swallowed her pride and looked down. I'm sorry. For what I said, for how I acted. I was wrong. Keanu's expression was calm, but there was steel behind his eyes. The world has enough cruelty. A little kindness goes a long way. Bianca nodded slowly. Yes, it does. Chapter 13. The Fitting Room. Walter stood awkwardly as the tailor circled him, measuring, adjusting, pinning fabrics and murmuring about Italian cuts and French seams. I feel like a fraud, Walter whispered. Keanu chuckled. You look like someone who's about to get a second chance. Walter looked at him, eyes glassy. Why me? Keanu leaned against the mirrored wall, arms crossed. Because you never asked for anything. You just gave. Your time, your effort, your loyalty. Walter gave a weak smile. Didn't think kindness paid off. Keanu's voice was quiet but powerful. It always does. Just not always when you expect it. The tailor returned with the finished selection, a deep navy three-piece suit with silver accents and hand-stitched detailing. Walter tried it on. He stood taller, straight. For the first time in years, he looked in the mirror and liked what he saw. He turned to Keanu, emotion thick in his voice. "I can't afford this." "You're not buying it," Keanu said. "You earned it." Chapter 14. The Full Circle. As they prepared to leave, cameras outside had already started gathering. Word had leaked. Keanu Reeves had returned, and this time he wasn't buying for himself. Bianca stepped forward one last time. "I know an apology doesn't undo anything," she said, "but I've learned more in the past 72 hours than I did in 4 years of retail." Keanu looked at her, genuinely considering her words. "I hope you use it," he said. She nodded. "I will." And she meant it. Walter and Keanu walked out into the sunlight, the new suit neatly pressed and boxed in Walter's arms. Photographers snapped photos, not of Keanu's designer clothes. He wasn't wearing any, not of expensive purchases, but of a man who had shown the world what respect truly looked like. Chapter 15. The Interview That Went Viral. That evening, Keanu agreed to a brief interview with a local journalist. The video clip would rack up over 100 million views in under a week. Interviewer: "Keanu, you could have blasted the boutique publicly. Why didn't you?" Keanu: "I don't think shaming people helps them grow. I'd rather show them something better." Interviewer: "And your friend, Walter, that was a powerful gesture." Keanu, smiling: "He's helped more people than he knows. Just never wore a suit while doing it." Interviewer: "What message would you give to people who judge others by how they look?" Keanu, after a pause: "Never mistake quiet for weak. Never confuse modesty with lack. The richest souls I've met wear old shoes and carry cracked wallets. But they carry themselves with kindness. That's the kind of wealth the world really needs." The internet erupted in applause. Chapter 16. The Backlash and the Reckoning. The boutique couldn't escape the fallout. Despite Keanu's refusal to publicly shame the store, the internet had already formed its own verdict. Influencers who once flaunted Elon Luxe products began turning their backs. Hashtags like humility over luxury and "be like Keanu" trended globally. Marcus received a formal notice from headquarters. He was being reassigned to a less visible position, pending further review. But Bianca? Her situation was more complicated. She hadn't been fired. Miranda Chen, the powerful VP, believed in consequences, yes, but also in transformation. Bianca was offered a choice: resign and leave quietly, or take a demotion and enroll in a company-sponsored mentorship and diversity training program focused on empathy in retail. For the first time in her adult life, Bianca chose humility. She stayed, and she began to learn. Chapter 17. Walter's Day in the Sun. Walter's story, meanwhile, began to spread. Not through his own doing, he was as shy and humble as ever, but through those who had seen the video and recognized something in him that felt familiar. A veteran Hollywood costume designer, moved by the story, offered Walter a job on an upcoming film. "We need more people who care about the craft, not just the credit," she said. Within weeks, Walter found himself back where he belonged, among stage lights and fabric rolls, working behind the scenes with dignity and purpose. He wore his new suit to his first day on the job, and he cried the moment he stepped on set. Keanu didn't make a big show of it, but he sent a note to the director. "This man knows more about character than half your cast. Let him teach you." Chapter 18. A Changed Woman. Bianca, once the poster child of arrogance, began changing in quiet, subtle ways. She started greeting every customer, whether they walked in wearing diamonds or denim, with genuine warmth. She stopped judging handbags and watches. She started learning people's names, asking about their stories. And she listened. One afternoon, she saw a young woman hesitating by the perfume counter. Her clothes were worn, her shoes mismatched, but her eyes lit up at the display of a limited edition fragrance. "Would you like to try it?" Bianca asked gently. The woman shook her head. "It's too expensive. I just wanted to see what it smelled like. The ads said it reminded people of home." Bianca took a small travel vial, sprayed a generous sample, and tucked it into a velvet pouch. "Here, on the house. Take home as much of that feeling as you need." That night, the young woman posted the story online. Thanks for watching.